Once, there was a brave young boy, beloved by all.
Ooh, was it Tim Drake?
Nobody cares about Tim Drake.
What did he say?
There are 4 notable characters who have taken up the mantle of Robin over the years in Batman's career in post-crisis continuity. You might have a select group of people go, but what about Stephanie Brown as Robin? Let's be for real here, she was barely a Robin and was fired less than 2 months canonically. She barely counts. Quit booing me, I'm right. Besides, Stephanie Brown's a much better character, either as Batgirl or spoiler anyway. Out of all the Bat family members, Dick has always been my favorite besides Batman, and I'm sure plenty of fans admire the character regardless if he's their favorite or not. I sure as hell like Dick, you probably like Dick, but if we are talking about who was the best specifically during their time as Robin, it's Timothy Jackson Drake. Characters like Dick Grayson and Jason Todd are much better as Nightwing and Red Hood. I don't mind Damian as Robin, he's definitely gotten a lot better over the years, but Tim Drake perfectly encapsulates what it means to be a Robin. It's a damn shame how many people sleep on Tim, thinking he's boring or uninteresting compared to the other Robins, offering nothing that makes him stand out. If you've never read any of his comics, then yeah, he seems really boring on a surface level. He doesn't have some crazy backstory with dead parents before he met Batman, he didn't grow up on the streets, wasn't raised by ninja assassins since birth. Tim had a pretty normal life and grew up in a wealthy family. Despite that, he has proven himself to be the best for the role, and Tim Drake's slander is some straight up tomfoolery. Hey man, haven't you made enough videos glazing Batman and the Bat family?
No.
It also doesn't help how rarely he gets adapted into different mediums, and when he does, more often than not the writers miss the whole damn plot of his character. The only live action appearance of Tim Drake is in the Titans show, one of the worst written DC shows of all time, and anyone who tries to tell you otherwise is lying to you. One thing people need to understand is that Tim did not willfully confront Nightwing or Batman like, hey, I want to be the new Robin because that sounds like fun. Batman was off his game and was going a bit out of control after the death of Jason Todd. Stories had been roaming around about Batman acting differently in the newspapers and going on a bit of a rampage, struggling with foes he once was able to defeat with ease. Tim had been a fan of Batman and Robin, following up on their adventures over the years. He was smart enough to deduce both of their identities as he attended Haley's circus the night Dick Grayson's parents died. Without a Robin by his side, the darkness within Batman was consuming him, and Tim knew that a Robin would be saving Batman, thus saving Gotham from further turmoil. Tim initially went to Nightwing to convince him to become Robin again, but he refused, and when both Nightwing and Batman were captured by Two-Face, Tim decided to don a Robin costume in the Batcave to help them out. After a little bit of convincing and initially being hellbent on not taking in another Robin, Batman allows Tim to become his partner under heavy training after Tim proved himself with his detective work and helping Batman and Nightwing stop Two-Face. Now compare that to the Titans show, where the core elements of Tim being a fan of Batman and Robin and deducing their identities of Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne are still intact, but the show completely misses the point of how or why he became the third Robin.
He says he knows you're Nightwing. Says his name is Tim Drake. That was right before he told me Bruce Wayne is Batman.
I went to Haley's circus to see the Flying Graysons. The night your parents were killed. I saw Batman and Robin on the news chasing Penguin. Robin did a one-handed meat hook to scale a rain gunner. Only 2 people in the world can do. You and your dad.
So Robin pinched my moves. I can't copyright them.
Nightwing also does the one-handed meat hook. You're Robin, then Nightwing. You need help. I want to be the next Robin.
Why?
Why does he even want to become Robin at this point? Bruce had stepped down from being Batman after killing the Joker with a crowbar at Arkham, and the Titans moved to Wayne Manor throughout the course of season 3. Why do the Titans need his help? It's not like they accomplished much more because he came on board. It's not like they went psycho after Jason Todd died in this universe. So Tim went out of his way to deduce the identities of Batman and Nightwing and begged Dick to let him be Robin because why not? No rhyme or reason. He's not doing this to help Batman become a better hero or prevent him from going over the edge. It stems out of sheer selfish desires. It's more like a psycho fanboy who wants to join the team rather than someone who truly understands the weight of the role he's taking on and wants to help Gotham and Batman after seeing how they suffer without a Robin. The Titans cast at this point is full of powerhouses, so what do they gain with yet another Bat family character? You already have Nightwing as the leader of the team. Not to mention, Tim Drake and Batman never interact once in this universe. They don't share a single line of dialogue or any screen time together, which is weird considering the show ends with Tim Drake roaming around Gotham as Robin, while Bruce returned to being Batman at the end of season 3, yet somehow they never crossed paths. Tim's introduction set a precedent for a more extended Bat family, setting a standard for future members to come into the fold like Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. His significance helped in Batman allowing himself to work with others after the grief he felt following Jason Todd's death. Tim Drake's the guy who pretty much modernized the Robin character and heavily influenced how Robin would be depicted in future adaptations. A lot of elements people associate with the Robin character stemmed from Tim Drake's run. For example, he was the first Robin to actually wear pants and not rock booty shorts while running across the Gotham City rooftops. Luckily for Batman, he no longer has to worry about someone calling Child Protective Services. Many people associate the bow staff with Robin's signature weapon thanks to the Teen Titans cartoon. While the Robin in that show is Dick Grayson, it was Tim Drake who first made the bow staff his primary weapon. During his training overseas, he stumbled upon Lady Shiva, who decided to train him in various martial arts. It was during that time that Tim first chose the bow staff as his weapon of choice. The red and yellow color scheme that's seen in some Robin designs like Jason Todd in Under the Red Hood or Dick Grayson as Robin in Young Justice, that was Timmy Boy. He rocked said color scheme in honor of his close friend Superboy, who died in Infinite Crisis. What made Tim really stand out when compared to the other Robins was the relatable nature of his character. Many of the issues in his solo series focus on his interpersonal relationships with friends and family, while also depicting his struggle to balance his dual life as a high school student and a crime fighter. It was one of the few instances where writers chose to explore the dichotomy of living with dual identities as a teenage crime fighter and the inevitable repercussions of trying to balance a normal life with being Batman's protege. Him and Stephanie Brown are really one of the only couple of Bat family members that are actually given the opportunity to convey a sense of normalcy with being students and trying to protect Gotham. His relationship with Stephanie Brown is probably one of the best written relationships in the entire Bat family. It's one of those cases where opposites attract, as Stephanie can be more adventurous and impulsive, while Tim is more calculated and cautious. Tim had a strong bond with Batman and Nightwing, sharing a brotherly connection with Dick and having the utmost respect for one another. Bruce and Tim's dynamic had developed to such an extent that after Tim's father, Jack Drake, died in an identity crisis, Bruce legally adopted Tim as his son to ensure Tim had the security Bruce felt he deserved and had a proper home at Wayne Manor, going by Tim Wayne pretty much up until the New 52 reboot, which makes sense as he's been in the Robin role for a while and was the primary Robin for a couple of decades in DC's publication history before Grant Morrison brought in Damian Wayne, making him the primary Robin ever since. The first ever formation of the Young Justice team had Tim Drake, Superboy, and Impulse aka Bart Allen team up when they were allowed to use the Justice League's former HQ as their base of operations. Similar to when Dick was the leader of the Teen Titans, Tim would prove himself to be a natural leader of the Young Justice group, being the team's tactical mind and strategist. The first proper roster of the group included the 3 founding members as well as Arrowette and Wonder Girl. You could definitely point out some of the inspirations the Young Justice TV show took from this era of Young Justice, like using the Justice League's former HQ as the team's headquarters, which then led to Red Tornado serving as the team's mentor figure of sorts. Certain villains used, like Harm in that one episode with Zatanna and Artemis, who was one of the first major villains the team faced as a unit. Having the Cycle vehicle as their method of traversal when traveling to missions together is also something that stemmed from this run. After some time, the members of the Young Justice team decided to disband following the deaths of a couple of heroes, which included Donna Troy, but they would then be upgraded to becoming the new Teen Titans under the guidance of Cyborg, Beast Boy, and Starfire. While he may not be as skilled a fighter as Dick or Jason, Tim makes up for it with his intelligence and detective skills. But it's not like he can't fight for his life or isn't a skilled fighter, which is a common misconception I see brought up a lot when people talk about Tim Drake. Don't get it twisted, this man is still agile and was trained by Batman and Lady Shiva, some of the best combatants in DC. When Tim first donned the Robin costume, he set out on a journey to Paris to learn under a Tibetan martial arts master to sort of give him that edge he was seeking before he could fully operate in the field with Batman. Batman on numerous occasions would praise Tim's detective work and his deductive prowess, noting how he wants to be the world's greatest detective one day, and from what he's seen, he will be someday. If each of the 4 most prominent Robins represent a core aspect of Batman, Tim best embodies Batman's strategic mind and analysis, stated by Batman himself to have the best tactical mind of any partner he's ever worked with, a testament to Tim's noteworthy knowledge and experience.
Log entry BT49. 6 months since Tim Drake showed up. This kid not only figured out Batman's identity, but connected every dot. Nightwing, Alfred, Jason Todd, and at just 13. Tim is certainly smarter than I was at that age. In a raw sense, maybe even now, a natural detective. When Tim figured out who we all were, my first thought was, how did he do it? And then, how could he use this against us? Even more paranoid than usual. I've been in a dark place since Jason died. Robin's mask now feels like a curse I inflicted on Jason. And Dick. Tim wants the mask anyway. He says Batman needs Robin. Alfred and Dick just encourage this. They insist Tim just wants to help. There was a time I thought that I was helping Dick. Certainly thought I was helping Jason. If it were only that simple. Tim thinks everything has an answer. He has this absolute enthusiasm I can't possibly match. I worry I'll just grind that enthusiasm to dust, like I did with the others, whether I want to or not. It's just what I am. Though Tim would be better off without the mask, if he has to wear it, pushing him away would be dangerous. For some reason I can't understand, he trusts me. I'm certain I don't know what's best for the kid, but with all his potential and that raw genius, maybe, just maybe, we can make this work.
When Bruce was presumed dead, everyone accepted the fact he might actually be gone, but Tim was the only one who was convinced Batman was still alive out there somewhere, and donned the persona of Red Robin after Damian came into the fold as the new Robin, in hopes of tracking down Bruce via a global search. His efforts to find Bruce led to the discovery that Bruce was, in fact, still alive and had somehow been trapped throughout time. It's kind of a shame how Tim Drake in modern times has been put to the sidelines and benched a bit, not completely forgotten about, but it's been very evident that editorial has had no idea what to do with him or how to progress his character since the start of the New 52. They've had some well-written stories with him where it seems like the character is going in a unique direction, but nothing really ends up happening. Damian Wayne has been the primary Robin for a good while now, and it's weird nowadays how Tim Drake is still Robin while not being the center focus one. He's sort of just there and will pop up in any crossover Batman books if necessary. Current Tim Drake compared to his New Earth / pre-New 52 counterpart is kinda sauceless. Dunn nearly became the oralist, neglected middle child of the Bat family. But if you're willing to look, Tim has some really compelling stories from his time as Robin, showcasing the strength of his relationships with the Bat family and our vast roster of heroes during his time in Young Justice and the Teen Titans. By far the most underrated Robin out of the most prominent characters to take up the mantle, and definitely shouldn't be overlooked by most people.